World War I, or the world to end all wars, is often overshadowed by World War II in American history. This is partly because the United States entered the war so late, over 2 years after it started in Europe. However, America's involvement in World War I helped change the course of history, and Framingham had a part in that history. The Framingham History Center's new exhibit, An American Town in World War I, brings to life our community's involvement at that difficult time. Women were still working to secure the right to vote, along with supporting soldiers going off to war across the ocean. Music was a huge part of the war effort, with patriotic songs bringing the country together. Poppies became a symbol of the war from the poem In Flanders Fields, describing the flowers growing up in the churned-up earth of soldiers' graves. Several groups helped make the grand opening a special event, with model biplanes adorning the ceiling and decorated shell casings used as vases. Attendees were encouraged to dress up in period attire and explore the exhibit. Denison did its part to support the war effort, offering patriotic ideas for the folks at home and paper bandages and blankets for soldiers. The exhibit will continue through spring 2019.
Well, I think what's exciting about this exhibit is that every family in America has been touched by this war, and it sometimes gets forgotten. A lot of times World War II is remembered, but World War I is also really important. And again, every family had a member that had to be affected by it. So I think that's what's kind of exciting about it, and to kind of remember who in your family was what they were doing at this time. That to me is what's kind of interesting about all of it.
My favorite part of the exhibit is most definitely the section about Gordon Ware. And that whole section came out of discovering this unfinished, unpublished manuscript, a first-person account of World War I from this man who had volunteered as an ambulance driver before America was even officially involved in the war. And it was like finding a diamond. Like, it was the most precious and incredible thing, and nobody knew we had it. And I found it, and it just really birthed this incredible thing.
I had my grandmother's album from World War I that she was in the Military Girls, and I reproduced it on the anniversary of the start of the war in Europe, and I presented it to the Framingham History Society. So she had kept this whole scrapbook of all the articles about the Military Girls, how they made packages to send overseas. And my grandfather, they were engaged. My grandfather and his two brothers, my grandfather William and his brothers John and Joe, their cousin Matthew and her cousin Walter were all in the war. So they sent books, and I have all their thank you notes, plus a lot of other soldiers' thank you notes for getting the boxes. They were all published in the paper, and she had them all in her book. When I reproduced the book, Ruth Ann Tomasini, who works here, started going through the book and sent me an email and said, "Oh my goodness, my family's in this book. Her great aunt was the president of the club." And the article about her Uncle Frank coming home and jumping off the train and hugging his sisters, she didn't know about that. So we kind of connected, so our grandmothers kind of put us together after all these years. It's really neat, I know.